take it from Shak and Swee. There's no need to fight and argue over which movie is the best or which you should see this weekend. Find out the best and the worst on this week's Showtime.
Welcome. It's to Showtime with Shak and Swee. Sorry for the corny name. We couldn't think of anything better. And this week we are talking about our top 5 heroes. We did villains already, so we want to talk about our top 5 heroes, our picks. So, of course, I'm Shakeem, sports editor at Covington News and Rockdale News.
I'm Sabastian, design editor at Covington News and Rockdale News. So we're just like our villains. Villains were more about personifications of evil. This time with heroes. Heroes can be a little bit square. So we wanted to go with a little bit more complex kind of heroes. So unfortunately, that would leave out honorable mentions and mostly square ones, like typical ones like Dirty Harry. Doc Holliday, I wouldn't say he's square.
Doc Holliday is not a square.
He's not square.
I did my best to get Doc Holliday on this list because he had the best line in Tombstone, and
that's true.
We came up short.
I mean, then you include John McClane in that list, Indiana Jones, Han Solo, you got Neo, James Bond. These are all your typical heroes that everyone's always going to bring up. I think like recently, who was very close to hitting our list would be like John Wick. So in our case, we would pick John Wick over Luke Skywalker. Sorry, Luke.
No! No!
But, so we're going to start with number 5. And for us, number 5 would be Luke Jackson from Cool Hand Luke.
Never! Never! What we've got here is failure to communicate. What we've got here is failure to communicate.
And so
at least one Luke made it.
Yeah, one Luke, right? So sorry again, Luke. But Cool Hand Luke was really like the epitome of, I guess, man versus establishment kind of film. So, and I'm drawing a blank. Paul Newman was really great in this movie, and he was just a guy that just did things in spite of rules and whatever. And in the end, he still, in his own way, he still triumphed over the establishment. So he would be our number 5.
Number 4 is one of my personal favorites, in Hermione Granger.
I'm Hermione Granger.
Gryffindor!
She's a nightmare, honestly. No wonder she hasn't got any friends. Now, if you two don't mind, I'm going to bed before either of you come up with another clever idea to get us killed. Or worse, expelled.
No, not Harry Potter, because let me explain this to everybody. If you watched the movies, you read the books, Hermione is the hero of the story. Hermione knows all the magic. Without Hermione, Harry Potter would have died after the Sorcerer's Stone. And I think we can all agree that that's true because, I mean, Hermione's just, she's awesome. She's very, very good.
Classic overachiever, too.
Yes, she is a classic overachiever.
We know a couple of people like that.
Yeah. And Harry's just a jock who, he has like no skills. Hermione has all the skills. Ron is stupid. He's useless. So
but she loves him.
Yeah.
For his uselessness?
No, he's funny.
Yes, I guess it's bound to happen. But anyway.
That's our number 4 pick, Hermione Granger. And number 3 is Atticus Finch. The Film Institute in 2003 named Atticus Finch the best movie hero of all time.
You have testified that he choked you and he beat you. You didn't say that he sneaked up behind you and knocked you out cold, but that you turned around and there he was. You want to tell us what really happened?
Atticus didn't. He's not number one on our list, but Atticus is the personification of what you would want a good father to be.
He raised the bar for good dads everywhere, and it's all dads have been fighting uphill ever since. And you know, his character in To Kill a Mockingbird, I mean, it stands tall above the rest. It's just, I guess, the picture of a good guy. You know, I mean,
Gregory Peck portrayed Atticus Finch, and that was in 1960 when To Kill a Mockingbird came out.
I think it's around that time.
But he was great, and I just thought that Atticus, you know, he fought for social injustices, and he fought for. He's a lawyer who defended people that were fighting prejudice and racism in Alabama, of all places. So.
He said just as much with words as he did without words. It was an incredible performance. And Gregory Peck took the Oscar that year, a well-deserved Oscar. But number 2 for us is Ellen Ripley from the Alien franchise.
It's a queen. She'll breed. You'll die.
Who are you?
Ripley Ellen, Lieutenant First Class, number 36706.
Ellen Ripley died 200 years ago.
This is pretty obvious as to why we would pick her, but she's also a very interesting choice of all the heroines of filmdom, basically. Ellen Ripley is probably the greatest badass female character that you can possibly get. They constantly pitted her in a world of men. You look at the first one. All the crew were men, she was second fiddle, and they all get pretty much wiped out and she has to stand in. Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen this 30-year-old movie.
And she kicks butt, of course.
Right. Second one, Aliens, was the same way.
Yeah.
She was stuck in a man's world and had to basically step in, tell all the guys, screw you, you don't know what you're talking about. And of course she fights the queen. So you got 2 females battling out over, in a sense, their children.
Yeah.
Sigourney Weaver was nominated for Best Actress for the second Aliens. The third one, once again, I think this is when it was starting to get a little bit old, was when she, once again, in a penal colony, all men, and she once again has to kind of rise up above. And so...
She did that even in the terrible Alien Resurrection movie.
Yeah, that's true.
It was just like a continuous cycle.
Right, so it was a very much, I mean, I guess you could call it a feminist film.
Yeah.
And she was able to be nurturing, maternal and paternal at the same time. It was a very good balance, and which puts her right up there, almost.
But she's not number one because Batman. Batman's number one.
Just like the Joker was number 1 for our villains, Batman is the perfect number 1 for heroes.
Because obviously, like we talked about in the villains, he's the opposite of the Joker. Batman is the Dark Avenger, the Dark Knight. He does whatever he has to do to get the job done, interrogate people in a very brutal manner.
Where the Joker has no rules, he has that one rule.
That one rule, he won't kill. You know, he won't kill, he doesn't use guns.
Unless you're a Tim Burton or Joel Schumacher Batman, then you might kill people.
Yeah, but you also have nipples on your Batman costume.
Don't remind us. But yeah, I mean, and Batman makes it so interesting because 1 inch the other way, he would have been no different than the Joker. I mean, this is a really screwed up kid who lost his parents and in
darkness.
I mean, he could.
Parents.
Let's just admit, and even the comic books, Batman didn't even trust the rest of the Justice League. So this is a really screwed up, disturbed guy, and let's be happy that he's on our side.
But he's like the ultimate hero because I think you got Superman powers, Spider-Man powers, Hulk powers, and Batman his power is his money and his intuition.
Right.
Like he's the world's greatest detective.
And he could have been the world's greatest villain. He really could have.
Yeah.
And the fact that he went on the other side and gave himself rules to make sure he's always doing the right thing, whether or not us, citizens believe it or not. That's what I think, that he's willing to take the sacrifice to hits for us. the hero we deserve, not necessarily the one we need. And we don't always get to thank him, do we?
And you'll never have to.
So, but that's our list. If you disagree with us, feel free to, tweet at us. You can find our Twitter handles right down here somewhere.
They probably aren't up that far, but they're
somewhere,
down
maybe
there
across his face and mine. Who knows? Yeah, let us know if you agree, disagree. What else? Anything else you want us to discuss and argue about? Just
Put it
let
in the
us know.
comment section.
All right. Thank you.